Hello there, everybody. Bunneh here, and I've challenged myself to survive for a full week on 7 Days to Die's hardest difficulty using nothing but a bone knife. Oh yeah, and I'm throwing in the Darkness Falls mod too because I'm a bit of a sadist and I love crying in the shower. The rules are simple. I'm tackling this challenge as a hardcore Ironman, meaning everything must be accomplished solo and death is permanent. I'm only allowed to use a bone knife to attack enemies, with the exception of environmental traps. Harvesting tools are otherwise unrestricted as long as I don't use them as weapons. There are no limitations on overnight stays, and I'm allowed to build or craft anything I need to survive. The challenge will end when I've failed enough times to call it quits, or if I survive the impending horde on the 7th day. For the record, I've attempted this challenge 6 times up until this point, and here's a summary of how that turned out. What the hell? Oh, shit. Oh, shit, it's right there! Fuck! God damn it! Fuck! No! God damn it! Oh my god! On screen now is a quick summary of the world settings I'm using to set up each of these attempts, but enough of that. Let's get started. Day 1 begins with the usual survival game trope of blurry vision and flaily arms. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the game or the Darkness Falls mod, some of the things you're seeing right now might be a bit confusing. I tried to explain things as well as I could in the last challenge video, and I think it would be too repetitive if I did the same exact thing here, so I'm going to skip over most of the explanations. To make a long story short, I claim my Darkness Falls starter bundle, ditch a few of the useless items, organize my hotbar, and choose the security class. If you're wondering why I'm moving so fast right now, it's because I've completed this tutorial section 6 goddamn times so far, and I have no reason to believe that this attempt will be any better. Harvesting plants for materials and food along the way is crucial to my survival though, so I don't slack off in that department in the slightest. Within a matter of seconds, I have the materials for a stone axe to cut down my first fruit tree for some oranges. Getting to the trader is my top priority. The sooner I can start completing missions, the smoother this attempt will be. Luckily for me, the trader isn't too far away, and I reach the compound relatively fast. This is Trader Wrecked.
Okay, fucker.
He's a complete asshole, but basically my only salvation in this godforsaken place. He offers missions at various locations in the game world, and sells a variety of different items in the shop. His inventory changes every few days, so it's helpful to keep an eye on things to see what I can buy. At the moment, I don't have any dukes to spend, so I move along.
Just get the fuck out of here.
There's one other NPC here that sells medical supplies and offers zombie kill quests, so I snag one before proceeding. The trader's compound is full of these little wooden boxes and other lootable containers that have loads of building materials and building blocks, both of which are going to be incredibly helpful early on. I don't want to spend too much time here though, because I'm currently burning daylight, so I leave out the side entrance and run past this zombie trying to bite my little Bunneh poof. Crafting a bone knife is now my top priority, because not having any kind of a weapon to defend myself is quite debilitating. The resources to craft said knife are pretty simple. It's just bones, actually. Sometimes they can be found in trash piles or other lootable containers, but the surefire way to acquire them is simply harvesting these rotting corpses scattered around on the street. After acquiring 5 of these bad boys, I'm able to craft the most powerful weapon in the entire game! Or at least in this challenge. It's the only weapon allowed in this challenge, actually. It kinda just wins by default. Anyways, I'm feeling pretty confident with this smooth shaft in my hand, so I decide to take on my first zombie of this attempt. But wait a second. Before I go any farther, I want to complete the first class quest. I know for a fact that the second class quest is to kill 5 zombies, so I might as well complete the first one first before starting a mission to be as efficient as possible. All I have to do is craft a wooden club, which I quite literally deduce, harvest, and craft while actively being pursued by 2 zombies. Now that the second quest is unlocked, behold! Bone Knife Combat! Nearly every single combat encounter is going to be like this one. It's going to involve me attacking, backing up to create distance and recover stamina, and repeating. Power attacks always seem to be the best bang for my buck in previous attempts, so that's pretty much what I stick with through this entire video. They hit harder and seem to have a higher chance of knocking opponents down, which can either buy me time or allow me to get in free hits risk-free. They also apply bleed effects more commonly, which if I'm being honest, I rely on a lot since the bone knife fucking sucks. Anyways, I came here for one reason and one reason only. To get some pussy! Oh wait, never mind, there's a mission. That's what I came here for.
Oh my god, wow, that's such a cool effect! You're the best! Yeah, I'll suck your dick!
Right away, I decide to crouch and avoid stepping on this pile of trash in the doorway. If I could land one sneak attack on a zombie in here, it would make the fight a lot easier and safer. Unfortunately, this doesn't do shit and the zombie hears me anyways, so no sneak damage multiplier for me. Alongside my highly trained tactic of attacking and backing away, I employ countless other maneuvers to confuse and overcome my enemies, such as closing the door on them. These dumb fucks can't open doors! But they can shatter them in a single hit apparently, so that's terrifying. Anyways, getting them into prime kiting grounds is really my only option for winning here, so I just lure them outside and take them out. Now most everything is useful in a challenge like this, but especially high-tier food items like this orange tea. Chances are I'll never be able to make a drink this good, so it's nice to simply loot them and keep my stats up. In the bathroom, I find 2 piles of shit in the toilet.
Fucking delicious.
This garage area is a bit touch and go. I don't want to just charge in for fear of getting cornered, so I just let this zombie Looney Tune bounce his way up to me. At least up here I can use my door trickery to keep from taking damage. He wants in here, but he can't get in here. Because door trickery. Also, once a zombie pokes a hole in the door, I can run up and stab them in the face, so it's just easy DPS on my part. Out back is a blue shipping container that is tingling my loins, and by that I mean I'm pretty sure it's important. I spot a zombie just chilling in here and try to get in another sneak attack, but just like last time, I completely whiff it. My little Bunneh nose was right about one thing though, and that was that the shipping container is important. I find the White River supplies stashed back here, which technically completes the mission, but I'm not done looting yet. I climb up this wooden ladder and about shit my pants when a zombie biker is right in my face. Luckily, my first attack knocks him down and buys me a few seconds to get back down the ladder, where the power of my bitch tactics is just too strong and his knees give out.
Knees weak.
There's always one final loot room at the end of all these missions, and since I hadn't found it yet, I figured that it's probably on this rooftop. I am correct in assuming this, of course, and even though I'm pretty confident attacking this party girl, my confidence whittles away pretty quickly when this other zombie slaps me for 60% of my fucking health pool. I decide to kite backwards to get a little bit of distance, but this zombie is persistent with his approach. Luckily, I managed to land a knockdown attack and he just ragdolls off the building for now. That party girl died to my bleed effects, which means I have a few moments to loot before that other zombie finds his way back up here. The first box here is worthless, but the second box has a first aid kit, some padded armor, and a few items I can sell for dukes back at the trader. By this point, that other zombie had staggered his way back up here, which just results in this funny merry-go-round. Mind you, if he hits me one more time, I'm dead, but his knees give out.
Knees weak.
I start to organize my inventory and decide to pop that first aid kit to get some health back. I hop off the rooftop and hightail it back to the trader, which honestly is only a stone's throw away. Rex reward options for completing this mission are complete dog shit. I reason that jars of honey are probably the most useful thing right now in case I get infected, so I take those. I snag another mission, sell everything that isn't useful, and purchase a cooking pot and cooking grill for my campfire. These 2 items would allow me to make different food recipes inside the campfire, and were honestly kind of necessary to survive. I get some food cooking up and decide to tackle this zombie that followed me into the compound. It was going to be dark soon, and if this asshole was still here beating on the door when night falls, I would surely die.
Knees weak.
Next, I spend some of those hard-earned dukes on some medical supplies. Things like bandages, splints, and painkillers. And now, I'm about to do something stupid. It's getting nighttime outside, and I know that. But the next mission isn't terribly far away. I'm torn between trying to get there and camping overnight, or just simply waiting here at the trader. After a bit of pussyfooting around, and yes, I do believe that is the correct term to use here, I opt to journey over to the mission start. This little rooftop here is within 50 meters of the starting location, so I building block my way up here thinking I'm going to be safe. I am wrong. There's 2 vultures sleeping right here, but if I can get in a sneak attack on the one, I could take them out pretty quickly. This backfires immensely. The sneak attack fails again, and the vulture is radiated. I run off the rooftop and into the back of this trailer thinking I could lose them, but one of them follows me inside and nails me for a good chunk of health, concussing me and infecting me at the same time. I frantically run out of the trailer, only to have a fat zombie scare the daylights out of me, but luckily I serpentine my way right around her. The The vulture is still in hot pursuit, so I have no choice but to keep kiting. I make a circle back to the trailer, only to find that more zombies have shown up from all the commotion. I make a split-second decision here that could very well end this run right here and now. That zombie that I just passed is closing in behind me, and I have no stamina left to make any big kiting maneuvers. I'm forced to go through this narrow gap between the trailer and the building again, which I know is dangerous if there's another zombie on the other side. Just my fucking luck, of course there is, and he takes me from 67 HP all the way down to 10 in a single hit. Luckily, this hit didn't slow me down too significantly though, and I'm able to keep moving and pop some painkillers to stay alive. I managed to make it back to the gas station where the first mission was at, and I building block my way up here to get away from the horde chasing after me. I knew that the zombie vultures didn't have too far of an aggro radius, so as long as there weren't any more sleeping up here, I should be okay. That is, until out of the corner of my eye, I spot the horde barreling right towards me. I act as quickly as I can by hopping off the rooftop, but I realize that this is only a temporary fix. I rebuild my way right back up just before the horde reaches me, and decide that I should either cut off their means of accessing the rooftop, or find even higher ground that they can't get to. Most of them are trying to climb this ladder, so I decide to try hopping on top of this railing and then onto the small roof above. But this doesn't work out, and there's one right in my face, Jesus Christ! I decide that this gas station sign is probably my best bet at this point, so I clench my ass cheeks and building block my way to the top. Luckily this sign is solid metal construction, so I'm not too worried about them breaking it, but I am worried about this radiated zombie being able to jump up and slap me. Either way, this is like the first break in action that I've had for a long time, so I take a second to get all of my stats in order. Any of those zombies could have one-shot me where my health pool was at, so it makes sense to try to reduce the chances of that happening now. This game has a really funny way of keeping you on the edge of your seat though, or in my case, on the edge of a toilet. I spend the entire night on top of this sign, just watching this fucking lunatic's zombies every move. He is frantically trying to get at me, and if he just happens to land on top of an object that could give him enough of a boost, I'm dead and the challenge is over. Luckily, after a heart-pounding night of near-death experiences, daylight is finally beginning to break the horizon and hope was in sight. When this asshole started hissing like a snake, I knew that morning had officially arrived and my first day shenanigans had come to an end. Day 2 begins with me getting the hell off of this sign and over to the mission start location. As I'm approaching the front of the building, I spot a doghouse, and sometimes these things have a zombie dog just chilling near them. I cautiously approach it thinking I'm in the clear, but then it pops into reality and my dreams are shattered. The back door of this building is locked, so my only real way of accessing this building is through the front by this dog, which is not ideal. As I'm exploring the back of this building, a zombie comes up and starts some shit, but I take him down pretty quickly. This little building here actually looks pretty safe, so I decide to pop inside and start investing some more feat points. I figure that I'm going to need every advantage available if I'm going to tackle that zombie dog, so I might as well invest them now while I have the chance. Even though everything is dangerous to me in a challenge like this, there are certain creatures that pose much more of a threat. Things like zombie dogs, zombie vultures, hornets, and feral zombies, all of which are incredibly fast and hit like fucking trucks. I died to zombie dogs twice in 2 of my previous attempts, which is just a testament to how dangerous they can be. Since I know about this one in advance though, I want to be more prepared when I go toe-to-toe with it. I decide to start working on a simple building structure that I can use to safely kill it. Before I get very far, this lumberjack staggers into the scene and clobbers me for 60 fucking HP! Are you kidding me? Thank you, game. This is exactly what I needed before fighting the dog on cocaine. Anyways, the building structure is just 2 corner fences stacked on top of each other with a temporary building block for me to step up on. I figure that I could run up onto this thing, remove the building block, and hopefully I could safely stab the dog from above. There's only one way to find out if this works or not, so no more pussyfooting around. I cautiously approach the zombie dog, but the moment I see it move a muscle, I haul ass back to the building structure. Everything actually goes according to plan here, until it lunges at me, I get scared and fall off the backside of the structure. This is bad. This is really bad. I frantically try to building block my way over top of this fence near me, but I'm completely out of stamina and can't jump anymore. This forces me to ring around the rosy this thing while waiting on my stamina to regen, which does result in me taking another hit. I pop some painkillers to get some health back and manage to make it on top of this porta potty to rest up a second. I knew this thing wouldn't last long though, so I time it as best I can for when the dog breaks it and I can get in a free hit. This little fucker managed to get in one more hit before finally dying to one of my bleed effects, which is infuriating, but at least I'm alive. A couple more zombies show up to the party, but they're child's play compared to that dogfight. Anyways, with all of them out of the way, I can finally begin this mission that I've been through hell and back trying to start. Luckily, the zombie dog didn't respawn when I started this, or else I'd be really pissed, and probably dead. The unfortunate part of all of that fighting beforehand is that my health level is not ideal, and my hydration level is extremely low from taking those painkillers. I have no meds or drinks to combat this at the moment, so I can only hope that I find some along the way. Now, both of the front doors are locked, as is the back door that I discovered earlier, so my only way to go is up. I want to point out here that I'm fully aware of this ledge wrapping around the exterior of the building, and it's more than likely the way inside. But oddly enough, the final loot room seems to be on the rooftop of this building, alongside the supplies I need to complete the mission, so I actually don't even need to enter this building. There's a couple zombies just chilling up here, so I have to dispatch them first. The one loot box just has some magazines to sell, but the second one has some nice tool modifications, a scrap iron helmet, and a level 7 bone knife, which is a very slight upgrade over my level 1. Since I'm safe at the moment, I equip all of this stuff and quickly organize my inventory for when I get to the trader. The White River supplies are just chilling over here in the corner, which completes the mission. Since my hydration level is currently fucked and I have no way of restoring it, I decide to head back to the trader for now and skip looting the rest of the building. I'm not entirely sure what would happen if my food or water hits 0 on insane difficulty, but I don't want to find out. I make it back to Wrecked with only 6 water left, but fortunately I had boiled a bowl of water before setting out, so this at least keeps me from dying. As much as I hate to do it, I think it's necessary that I purchase some drinks from the vending machine to get my stats back up.
Necessary? Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine? Probably not. No. But I do it anyway because it's sterile and I like the taste.
Part of me feels like this is a complete waste of dukes, but another part of me knows that if my survival stats are poor, I'm much more likely to die when the situation goes south. I'm cheap as hell though, so you best believe I'm doing the math to figure out which drinks are the best bang for my buck. I decide on a red tea and an apple juice, which should give me enough hydration to keep fighting the good fight.
You're not bringing counterfeit money in here, are you?
The reward options for completing that quest are pretty shit, but he does offer me a pure mineral water to help out with the hydration issue. I snag another mission off of him, sell the junk in my inventory, pillage this trading outpost for some more building resources, and dump my inventory again before setting out. I revel in the fact that this pisses him off.
All that damn gawking at goods and that's all you buy?
The next mission is actually a decent distance away in the opposite direction that I've been doing missions in, so this is uncharted territory for me. I spot a wolf on the long walk over here, which I definitely should have included in that list of creatures that pose more of a threat in the challenge, but I digress. Anyways, segues are hard. Mission time! The objective here is just to clear the building. Given that it's a residence of a family, I'm not expecting too many zombies. One nice thing about this place is these wooden spike barricades scattered around the outside. My bleed effects combined with these things make pretty quick work of these two. I spot a furnace against the outside wall of this house, which would be actually a very useful thing to find in a different sort of challenge. For instance, this would have been a godsend in my last challenge video had I not also restricted interacting with crafting stations. Perhaps this could be useful in some future challenge runs. Perhaps. Maybe. Perhaps. Anyways, I'm just looting and doing my thing when this fucking monstrosity comes walking out of the shadows.
Jesus Christ.
This thing is just straight nightmare fuel, so I slam the door in its face to lock it inside. I thought that it would just break a hole through this door pretty quickly and then I could stab it in the face a bunch of times, but it wasn't happening fast enough and I'm impatient. I think it's worth pointing out here that there were 5 zombies total inside of this house, all of which were adult-aged and of varying professions. One of these zombies was female, and the other 4 were males. Now, maybe they were just using this building as a safe house for when the world went to shit, but I personally think that I just stumbled across some breadcrumb trail of a post-apocalyptic orgy. Anyways, killing all 5 of them completes the mission, and I'm left to loot the place in peace. I break this wooden box for some much-needed building materials, and plunge my hands directly into the back of this toilet to loot some murky water. Oh, hell yeah! The rest of this place is pretty uninteresting. I kept my eyes peeled for a casting couch, but I didn't come across one.
Disappointed!
I hop off the porch and start heading back towards the trader. While casually walking through the grassy landscape, I manage to stumble within spitting distance of that wolf hiding in the shadows. Luckily, I somehow don't manage to aggro it, which is honestly surprising given how much this game fucking hates me. Anyways, I run back to the trader and turn in that quest for a very mediocre reward of an iron crossbow, which I can't even use and I only accept because it's the highest valued item that I could sell back to him. I clean out my inventory, get some food cooking up on the campfire, including that murky toilet water, and snag a new mission to keep the progress rolling in. Now, I'm in the same predicament here that I was in last night. The mission is a fair distance away, and it's getting nighttime, but it isn't as late in the day as it was before, and I'm fairly confident that I can make it there. I know from a viewer's perspective that it seems really stupid to take chances like this when nighttime is so dangerous, but every minute that passes is really valuable. I'm already forced to basically do nothing during the nighttime hours, so wasting even more time on top of just waiting for nightfall to happen is really inefficient. Long story short though, I safely reached the mission start location, but now I need a place to hang out for the night. I spot this radio tower nearby, which would be great, but after walking into the complex and hearing all the zombie activity, I quickly decide against it. There's a pharmacy nearby though that looks pretty safe from the ground level, so I decide to building block my way to the top of it and check it out. The rooftop is completely clear of zombies, and I don't see any easy access points for them to get at me. Actually, the more I look at this building, the more I'm liking what I see. I need a safe rooftop to hide out on when the 7th day arrives, and this one is checking off pretty much all of the boxes. It's high enough that they can't reach me, but low enough that I can evacuate if necessary.
Oh, that's a big boy, isn't he?
There doesn't seem to be any extra points of access, and the ones I am spotting can be easily fixed. There's even some boxy structures up here that I can convert into a little bunker for fighting off vultures, so all in all, this is looking pretty promising. But there's nothing I can do about this building right now, so I decide to build myself up a few blocks just for added safety, and invest some more feat points while I have the chance. After this, it's pretty much just a waiting game until morning, but what happened next was completely unexpected. Nothing notable happened. I mean, to be fair, that is kind of unexpected given how my luck has been this run, so you can't judge me.
Something's gonna happen, huh?
So it's day 3 now, and I'm feeling revitalized. Before I can start the mission, though, I've got to deal with these straggler zombies in the area. Every time I kill one, another one seems to show up, which is the perfect time for a short montage. Okay, now that they're all out of the way, it's mission time! This building has a pretty funky aesthetic to it, and while I appreciate the vibe, it's really disconcerting when a zombie just pops into existence in front of my face like this. He goes down pretty quick though, and I cautiously creep through the front door. Per the usual, I completely whiff the sneak attack, but she goes down pretty fast the normal way. She drops me some painkillers too, which is much needed after that encounter I had with the zombie dog. Although this house looks pretty neat, it's not very well designed. The rooms are really tight, some things aren't painted correctly, like this window in the garage, and the layout is just really confusing. Like, why is this couch here facing the garage door? Why is there a bed and a nightstand in the kitchen? I could accept a bedroll or a sleeping bag because it's the fucking apocalypse, but an actual bed? Did someone bring this into here after the apocalypse started, or was this bedroom-kitchen combo always a thing? Anyways, there's only a few zombies on the upper level, one of which I use my sophisticated door tactics to take down. The other one is hiding out inside the bathroom. I apply a few bleeds on her before slamming the door in her face, which causes her to go full kamikaze mode and self-detonate.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Jesus Christ.
Holy shit, she really did a number on this bathroom. Then again, I can't say I expected anything less.
That's a huge bitch!
I find the White River supplies on the deck, a deck with solid concrete construction and white picket fences as the railings, yet again disrupting my understanding of this world. Anyways, the mission is officially complete and I can start heading back to the trader, but first I want to check out this pharmacy a little bit more now that it's daytime. I walk around the perimeter just checking all of the potential access points, and once again come to the conclusion that this is a great place to make my final stand. I even mark a waypoint on my map so I know exactly where to find it in the future. I run back to Trader Rex and hand in my quest for a reward option that is actually useful, that being some leather boots. No longer will my little Bunneh paws be exposed to the harsh environment. I snag another quest and chow down on some of that food that I had cooking up while I was away, but hydration is still a huge problem. I haven't been looting enough liquids to keep my stats in order, so I break down and buy some clean water from Rect.
Shit, man. I treat you that good, and you don't even fucking tip me.
I chug all of this down and repurpose one of the water jars I get back to make a yucca juice in the campfire. I also decide to make a small storage chest that I can start throwing some of these resources in between trips. I always return back to the trader after completing a mission to turn it in, so this just kinda makes sense. I also decide to craft a brand new bone knife because some of those feat points I invested allow me to craft them at level 11 now, which is a very slight upgrade over that level 7 one that I looted. I fucking floor it to the next mission location, which happens to be a donut shop, and now I want donuts. This place is all contained on a single floor, which is kind of nice for a change. There's no verticality to worry about, which means I can simply focus on my door antics and knifing bitches. Sometimes I just get in some hits and wait until I see an XP drop to know that the zombie died before proceeding. Little choices like this all stack up to reduce the risk and increase the likelihood that this run is successful. Another little thing that I opt to do at times is loot chairs. I know it's strange, but chairs can be picked up and disassembled inside of my inventory for raw resources. I can then use these raw resources to either craft things or just sell them to the trader. The bathroom is completely empty, which leaves the kitchen as the only unexplored area left. It's so damn dark inside of here though that I decide to cast a spell that levitates my torch 6 inches off of the ground so I can see. I spend a good deal of time rummaging around through all of the cupboards and plunging my hands into toilets before feeling content. It's dark and raining outside now, but I'm pretty confident that I've still got a good bit of time left today before actual nightfall sets in. So much so that I decide to take a little detour. I spot this liquor store out of the corner of my eye, and I know from past experience that these things are a phenomenal place to find beverages. Heck, the first box I loot sitting outside on the pavement has some murky water and a refined XP drink inside of it, so this is boding very well so far. I step into the store and immediately hear a few zombies wake up from the commotion, but I'm pretty confident in my ability to take them all out. I even loot a couple tool upgrades from one of them, but upon trying to swap my modifications over to the axe, I kind of accidentally click the scrap button and delete it. Anyways, back to the task at hand. Clearing out this liquor store. There's no other way to put it, this place is a godsend. Even the one vending machine is full of tons of food. Murky water is the biggest attraction here because I can boil it into clean water and make other drinks out of it, but beer is also a huge find because of the plus 40% stamina regen it provides. As with a lot of situations involving alcohol, there's always someone that wants to fight about it, but I've learned that if you stab them in the dick enough times, they'll eventually stop.
Oh, yeah?
Even though I'm done looting the storefront, I have a feeling there's still more to loot out back, so I climb out the bathroom window and find 2 more zombies that want to fight about it. It's actually a pretty tight area back here, so I gotta be careful about where I position my character and how I kite these 2. At first I thought that I may have just wasted my time killing them since I didn't see any loot in sight, but then I opened up this door, and let's just say that it was all worth it.
Hallelujah.
This place has tons more drinks to go around, and it would go a long way towards solving my constant struggle with hydration. I loot everything I can find and climb up this ladder to the rooftop, only to spot 2 pissed off vultures coming right at me. I knew that staying inside of this back storeroom was a death sentence, so I decided to bolt out back instead and try to make it into the store. Just as I suspect, the vultures are right on my tail, and I about shit my pants when I turn around. I run back to Trader Rex and turn in my quest for a pump shotgun, which is completely useless to me outside of being worth a reasonable amount of dukes. Next, I notice that Trader Rex has a new chat option available where he can teach me some new recipes, all of which are food-related, thank God. The red tea recipe is actually a huge find and would couple perfectly with all that murky water. I purchase it, pick up a new quest, clean out my inventory, and start boiling my 12 murky waters into clean water on the campfire. It was already getting late, but just like the 2 previous days, I decide to chance it and travel to the next mission start before nightfall.
5 minutes later.
This place actually has a little overhead awning that I'm reasonably certain should be safe enough for me to spend the night on. I slap down a couple building blocks to make my way up there, and crouch in the corner to avoid making any unnecessary noise. Jesus Christ, why did I write that line? Now it's pretty much just a waiting game. I don't have any feat points to spend, my inventory is already clean, and my food stats are as good as they're going to get for now. But just when I think I've got this game figured out, it throws another curveball at me. You would think I'd be safe crouching on top of a stranger's awning in pitch black darkness holding nothing but a knife made of bones. You would think I was quiet enough not to provoke any nearby zombies to attack me. You would think that surely I could go a few minutes without fighting for my life. And you'd be right. That's exactly what happened.
Gotcha, bitch!
With sunlight cascading across the landscape, I can finally start this next mission that I camped out at. I'm going into this mission feeling pretty confident. My health is full and my food stats are solid, so I should be perfectly fine unless some bullshit goes down. Little did I know that some bullshit was about to go down. This zombie right here, the one chilling on the table, he's a feral zombie. Probably the most lethal thing I can encounter during a challenge like this, and you're about to see why. By the time I realize that he's feral, he's already closed the distance, and despite slamming the door in his face, he still manages to clobber me for 87 health points. Literally over 80% of my entire health pool in a single hit. Despite my current state of panic, I know my only chance of survival is to heal up and get the fuck out of here. Closing that door in his face would buy me a little bit of time, but not enough where I can stick around and plan a better attack. Plus, other zombies are starting to pour into the area, so I have to play this perfectly if I'm going to make it out alive. If even one of these zombies hits me right now, hell, even if I trip over my shoelaces, it's game over. I pick and choose the most opportunistic times to get my bleeds rolling, and after a while most of the zombies I'm kiting around die from the dots. This one just straight up breaks his knees trying to jump over the metal fence, which is really comical, but I'm also too shaken up to laugh about it right now.
That's a huge bitch!
Eventually I weed my way through all the zombies stumbling into the area, and I'm rewarded with a cigar for my efforts, which honestly is a fucking dope item to acquire. This thing increases my bartering by plus 10%, essentially reducing the cost of items I purchase and increasing the amount I get paid when interacting with Trader Asshole. Anyways, this mission is not worth the risk of going up against that feral zombie again, so as much as I hate to do it, I abandon the mission. Taking an L here means living to fight another day, and in a challenge like this, I can't let pride get in the way of completing my main objective. That main objective being getting some pussy! Oh, it's just to complete the challenge? I gotta use like a knife the whole time and not die? Okay.
His palms are sweaty.
I head back to the trader and grab a new mission to replace the one that I just abandoned. I take a few minutes to get some red tea and clean water cooking up, clean out my inventory, and purchase some more medical supplies from the other vendor. As much as I hate the side effects, I feel it's necessary to pop some painkillers right now to get some health back. After all, I've got a bunch of beverages to combat the loss of hydration, but I don't have the health to survive another hit from a feral zombie. Feeling a bit better after licking my wounds, I set course for the next mission. I clear the area in the most stylish way possible and get straight into the reason for being here. Everything about this house is strange. From the crooked roof, to the strange layout, to the random props, it's just kind of a mess. The zombies are relatively easy to take down, which is a breath of fresh air from the last mission, and I even snagged myself a new stone axe to replace the one that I accidentally deleted. Anyways, like I was saying, this house is weird. They've got these metal shelving units holding up 2 computer monitors that I'm guessing are supposed to be televisions, and a wooden barrel in the corner. The kitchen is fairly normal, but then upstairs there are like these metal graveyard fences surrounding the top of the staircase, and whatever the fuck this is. Like, seriously, what is this? And who would want a couch this crammed together? And why is the upstairs just some soulless, empty shell of a room with no furniture, doors, windows, or any kind of decorations? The only thing I can think of is that maybe this is a player's creation of a building, so I don't want to be too harsh on it, but it's giving me flashbacks of that other house that confused the hell out of me, and I don't like it. Anyways, with the mission complete, I start heading back to the trader, but at one point I hear a faint noise in the sky above me and decide to look up. Much to my dismay, there's a hornet flying around overhead, which if you remember from earlier in the video, I explained is one of the most dangerous creatures I can encounter. Fortunately, I'm far enough away to avoid aggro, and my stamina's in good enough shape that I can keep a steady pace. I reach the trader safely, and let's just say he's pretty stoked to see me.
Okay, fucker. You respect the shop rules, and we'll get along just fine.
The only thing that's really worth taking here is the armor plating mod, so I claim it, snag another mission, and discover that his shop inventory just reset, so there's new things for me to look at. This Hunter's mod initially catches my eye, but it's only effective against living beings, and most of the things that I'm fighting are the opposite. They're dead. The Ergonomic Grip mod, on the other hand, is effective all of the time because it reduces the stamina cost of my attacks, which honestly is huge. Now this thing is expensive as hell, and pretty much costs my entire stack of dukes, but that's what I've been accumulating them for. I slap that bad boy on my bone knife and notice a nice little upgrade across the board. I also put that armor plating mod on my scrap helmet. That campfire has been putting in work while I was gone, and I have loads of clean water to work with right now. My best option is to turn it all into red tea, as it gives more hydration and provides a plus 15% efficient digestion buff for a short time. With everything back in order, I set out for the next mission, but shortly into the journey, it gets scary as hell! The sky turns black, clouds set in, and rain begins to drizzle across my adorable Bunneh face. My only hope is this is not a foreshadowing of what's to come, because I've already had enough heart attacks in this challenge. I reach the destination in short order and dive right in. There's only one zombie stripper on the front patio, which if you ask me is like 3 strippers shy of a good time. I'm going to pick all of their fucking plants! Fuck it, I'm gonna take all their foldable lawn chairs as well. These are mine now. The gods smile upon this decision as the sky clears and I'm bathed in the glory of the sun once more. I creep through the front door and see another opportunity to pull off a sneak attack, so I take it, and for once, I actually succeed. Then I immediately spot a radiated zombie that stands up behind the couch, and my excitement withers away pretty quickly. My first thought is to close the door since I don't know how fast this thing can move, but luckily it's the same speed as every other zombie. With renewed confidence, I open up the door and start getting my bleeds ticking on all of them. Unlike the other missions, this house is actually fairly normal. It's got a decent layout, the furniture makes sense, the design's pretty solid. All in all, not a bad mission so far. Now, of course, I steal all of their wooden kitchen chairs, but that's just a given. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Not take their wooden kitchen chairs? Are you out of your goddamn mind? I hear some hissing coming from outside, so I decide to step out and confront it head on. Then I realize that one of the zombies making this noise is a spider zombie. These things are pretty dangerous because they can leap towards me and close distances really quickly, but as long as I pay attention to its animations and avoid its pounces, I should be fine. I try to get in a few attacks here just to get some bleeds rolling before heading back into the building and closing the door. This pisses it right the fuck off, but I was successful in getting it down to half health without taking any damage. My dots wear off at this point though, which forces my hand into attempting to get some more attacks in. Now this thing straight up phases through the first door when I attempt to close it on him, but I'm able to get a couple stabs in and evade his attacks. Shortly afterwards, I hear a terrifying sound effect accompanied by an XP drop, meaning that I just come out on top. Get fucking skulled, kid! There's one more zombie upstairs that I take out with the usual slice and kite method, allowing me to loot the remainder of this house in peace. I find the White River supplies upstairs and notice one final barricaded doorway that seems awfully suspicious. I decide to break into the room using my axe and discover a hidden gun safe and a small wooden loot box. The loot in the wooden box is pretty lackluster, or at least for this challenge it is, and the gun safe unfortunately requires lockpicks, which I currently don't possess. I try smacking it once with my stone axe, but that ain't gonna work, so I cut my losses and start heading back to the trader. It's actually quite a long walk back, and nighttime is already starting to set in when I reach the compound. Trader Rect offers me absolutely shit for reward options, essentially forcing me to take the jars of honey because they're at least somewhat useful, I guess? I snag another mission, sell some things, clean out my inventory, and start investing some more feat points that I've been hanging on to. I make a pretty big move here by investing into Tool Crafting 1, which then allows me to invest into Workbenches 1. Why am I doing this, you might ask? Well, if I can muster up the resources for a workbench, I would be able to craft some mods for my gear. In particular, I want to acquire a helmet light mod, as it will be super useful during the Horde fight on the 7th day. Acquiring one of these things from mission loot or as a reward option from a mission completion is actually pretty rare, despite me managing to get one in my last challenge video. But I would first need to acquire a wrench in order to harvest all these resources that I'm going to need. Trader Rect is fucking useless as always and doesn't have any for sale, so I'm leaving it up to chance on me acquiring one in the future. Even though my hydration problem is essentially solved, food is becoming a bit of a concern. I don't have much of any food items left to cook, so I'm either going to have to start harvesting more from the land or hitting up food-related buildings in the future to combat this. But that is a problem for another day. It's pitch black outside, and there's nothing I can do but wait the night out until the gods once again bathe the landscape in golden showers.
Hallelujah.
Day 5 begins, and you know, I've went this entire video without making a traveling montage, which just feels wrong. So, here's a traveling montage.
Do it! Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Alright, well, I want to apologize for what you just watched. I was tired and drinking Guinness at the time that I made those edits, but all in all, no regrets. Also, I made it here, so mission time! So I've got to find the White River supplies hidden somewhere in here, but there's quite a few zombies to weed through first. Luckily, I've become pretty confident in taking on hordes like this. Even though I don't have a rad remover mod on my knife, I've learned that if I keep the DPS steady, I can take down these radiated zombies fairly quickly. Now, of course I took every outdoor wooden chair when I was done. Are you out of your goddamn mind? These are free resources, baby! Free! You can just, take them! More zombies are starting to show up from all that noise that I was making, and it really just feels like a never-ending cycle. I'll kill one, and then another one comes walking in like dirk, dirk, dirk. But despite my efforts of clearing out the area, the game has other plans in store for me. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot what appears to be a traveling horde of zombies moving through town. I decide to building block my way on top of this gas station roof to get a better look, and inadvertently find the White River supplies in the process. My reconnaissance binoculars reveal my suspicions to be true. A massive horde of zombies is starting to gradually move through the town not far from my current location. I reason that as long as I keep my distance and don't kite any zombies over towards the horde, I should be okay. After fighting the first few zombies, though, I come to realize that I'm not going to be okay. I was making way too much noise, and zombies were starting to leave the horde to pour into the gas station parking lot. I technically already completed the mission and didn't want to risk any of those zombie dogs getting a whiff of me, so I figured it was best to cut my losses and bail out. I make it back to Trader Assholes, and he offers me a disgraceful set of reward options for completing that mission. The pump shotgun would be dope if I could use it, but it's pretty worthless outside of being worth some dukes. I browse through the list of available missions and decide to take one called Rex Abandoned Trailer, but whoever created this mission severely fucked up the grammar in the title.
What the?
I sell a few things and start hightailing it towards the mission objective. The neighbor stops in to say hi for a second, but ain't nobody got time for that! It's mission time, girl!
I fixed the title.
I start this mission by harvesting all of Rex's landscaping plants because fuck him, but apparently he left a guard dog around for this precise reason. This is extremely bad, but at least I spotted it well enough in advance that I can hopefully get away. I quickly build my way on top of the front of the school bus just in time to avoid him, but I'm not confident that he can't jump up here. I decide to build my way over top of the trailer just to be safe and give myself a few seconds to think about this. He was obviously the immediate threat here, but this trailer full of pissed off zombies is also a huge concern. After a bit of strategic planning, I decide that my best bet is to use a building block to seal off the trailer. This would keep all of them from getting outside, while allowing me to get some free hits in. Just for reference, here's a tidbit of the sound that I was hearing at the time. Yup, it's pretty fucking terrifying, isn't it? What's even more terrifying is that my furry little friend found a radiated companion to join in a puppy playdate. A regular zombie dog is dangerous enough as it is, but a radiated one? No shot. I decide that my only option here is to try to lure them inside the trailer, then seal it off with the building blocks. Unfortunately, I slip off the edge of one of those blocks while working on it, but I had enough sealed off that the threat isn't immediate. Now initially, this idea works, but not for very long. All of these zombies shatter the block that I used to seal off the trailer, and shit gets real fast. My immediate thought is to building block my way back up, but I have no stamina to jump. Since stamina is my main bottleneck right now, I figured this was as good a time as any to drink one of those beers that I've been saving. Beer would give me a plus 40% stamina regen rate, but after seeing that one of those zombie dogs is right on my ass, I also opt to pop some steroids to boost my movement speed. Now maybe I could have gotten away with only popping one of these consumables, but that's not something I was willing to gamble at the time. I figured it was better to play it safe and use what I have at my disposal to ensure that this run is successful. This tactic does work, and I'm able to escape that completely fucked situation safely, but it also means that I failed the mission and have to pick up a new one. It's a small price to pay in the grand scheme of things, but still not something that I'm proud of. The next mission is actually right beside the pharmacy that I plan on using on the 7th day, but I need to sort out my inventory situation before setting out. These cans of food are ungodly overpriced, but I don't really have much of an option right now. I hightail it to the next mission location, and just pray that this one goes better than the last one. The front door is barricaded, so I can't get in here. I move around the backside of the house and notice that this door is unlocked, but all boarded up. I start chopping my way through the boards when I hear this zombie dog growling behind me, and I about shit my pants. It's a really good thing I heard this when I did, though, otherwise I'd be puppy chow right now. I mean, I didn't even hear it until I heard it, and I certainly didn't see it until I saw it. Those metal railings aren't going to hold that thing back for too long, and I'm positive it can walk right up here, so I need to act fast. I reason that I should probably get a little more of a land advantage, but just as I approach the rooftop, a vulture flies straight into my face and hits me 2 times in succession. Fortunately, I land some pretty decent hits here and take it down before it can shred my health even further. I make it onto the rooftop just in time for that zombie dog to pop into view and come barreling straight up the sloped roof after me. I'm not entirely confident that he can't make this jump here, so I building block my way just a bit higher to take a quick breather. That zombie vulture also infected me when it attacked, so I eat some of that honey to cure it. I decide to place down a few building blocks to give me a little ledge to stand on, and then the game decides that this is the most appropriate time for black clouds and pouring rain. Even though working my way into this house is very tempting, I know that this zombie dog is going to be relentless at trying to get at me, so my best bet is to deal with him first. I slap down a torch to see a little bit better, and manage to land a few hits from my little perch up here. At one point I land an attack that ragdolls him, and I may or may not have added a few sound effects in post just to enhance the effect. The XP drop I received tells me that my bleed effects did the rest of the work for me, and I've got the green light to enter the building now. I find some magazines and recipes inside the bookshelf, and a gun safe tucked in this little corner, but I still don't have any lockpicks. Just like some of the other missions I've completed in this video, this house has a very strange design to it, although the layout does make a bit more sense than some of the others. I'm not finding any more zombies on the bottom floor, but there's one outside just doing zombie stuff. The game even marked him for me, as if to say, "Hey idiot, he's here." Go kill him. I climbed back up out of the house, and Jesus Christ, it got dark out fast. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference between bad weather and it actually being nighttime outside, but this definitely feels like it's too late in the day to do anything. I'm not going to risk fighting this zombie now since it's so dark out, so I decide to reclaim my little perch and do some research. Earlier in the challenge, I noticed a feat tree that offers boost to my wellness stat, but I'm not entirely sure what that means. I decide to read up on it using the in-game journal, which tells me that wellness is basically a boost to my max health and stamina. Different foods, items, and consumables affect it, and it's in my best interest to stack as much as possible. Given that stamina is always a bitch, especially when using nothing but a bone knife, this investment seems like a no-brainer. I also put another feat point into bladed weapon crafting and armor specialist. I craft myself a new bone knife that's level 21 instead of my current knife that's only level 11. Once again, the increase is fairly unnoticeable, but every little bit helps. I organize my inventory and start looking into what I'm going to need to craft that helmet light mod I mentioned earlier. I would need to invest one more feat point into science crafting, but that part is pretty doable. Crafting the workbench is going to be a challenge though, and getting those other resources seems really daunting. I'm not too worried about the basic resources, and I already have a flashlight, but the generic schematics are a big problem. I don't think that I've looted any of these things so far, so unless Trader Rex sells them, I'm simply out of luck. Anyways, after a long night of sitting on a rooftop staring at feat trees, the new day begins and I can continue the struggle. So I didn't even realize it before, but that zombie somehow died overnight and the mission completed. Don't ask me how, but I'll take it. I head back to Trader Assholes and he once again offers me a terrible set of reward options. What the hell, Trader Wrecked? I'm glad your trailer's fucked. I snag another mission, do some of the usual stuff, and decide to purchase some cobblestone rocks. This would allow me to construct blocks with considerably more health than wood, which really would have come in handy earlier. I also purchased some raw meat that I can use to make some bacon and eggs and get my stats back in order. I head to the next mission, but little did I know that this game was about to throw another curveball at me. This zombie hears me approaching the cell tower and stands up, which is really nothing unusual, but his movement speed is. I instantly peg this thing as a feral zombie, and I'm unfortunately right. I know that running away isn't much of a viable option here since I'm in the open, but kiting him around this fenced-in area and using bleeds to whittle him down is. I get in a few attacks to get some dots rolling, but at one point I miss with an attack and he clobbers me for a huge chunk of health. Despite how dangerous it is, I don't really have much of a choice here. And so begins the dance with death! At one point I luck out and land an attack that ragdolls him, and I quickly capitalize on the opportunity to end this now. Not the most exciting of endings, I know, but I'm alive and he's not, so that's what matters. This other zombie was honestly more of a distraction than a threat, but my heart was pounding pretty good from the prospect of failing this challenge right here and now. Anyways, mission time! Right away I spot this zombie dog just chilling underneath the cell tower, and going toe-to-toe with this thing right now doesn't at all sound appealing. So for the third time in this challenge, I decide to make a structure that will allow me to stab the dog without worrying about getting stabbed. Because, you know, dogs have knives. Everybody knows that. I try luring it over to me using a flashlight, but this doesn't seem to do anything. So I try smacking the fences, and oh boy does that piss it off. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to pick up those building blocks that I used to get on top of this structure, and this fucking dog just leaps right over the fence. Alright, so this isn't exactly going as I intended it to, but things will still work out just fine. I'm on one side of the structure, and he's on the other, so all in all, I consider this a win. After he's dead, I start exploring the underside of the cell tower, only to discover that there's now a zombie vulture trying to get at me. I'm not really sure how to best handle this situation, so I just wing it. No pun intended. Anyways, this thing does smack me once, but the damage is fairly minimal, so I'm not too worried about it. This small building here is locked with a radiated zombie inside trying to break his way out. I capitalize on the glory hole that he installed in this metal door to get in some easy shaft thrusts while he's still incarcerated. Jesus Christ, why did I write that in the script? I climb on top of the building to find this little duffel bag next to the vents with some scrap leg armor inside. This is a nice upgrade to my padded leggings, so I'll take it. All of the stuff inside these wooden boxes is pretty worthless, but I do see a bunch more loot inside. Without seeing another access point of some kind, my only option here is to simply break through the glory hole. After only a few short smacks though, the game throws another curveball at me. I notice a shadow move across the right side of my screen, and before I can even react to it, a radiated zombie vulture flies right into my face, dealing a huge chunk of damage and infecting me. My first thought is to run underneath of the cell tower and hope that he gets caught on the side or above me. This seems to work and buys me a few moments to pop some painkillers and cure the infection. Going head to head with this thing is a really dangerous game. It's really fast and hits like a fucking truck, so I decide to try to make a structure similar to the one that I used to fight that zombie dog. I think these post-like structures will keep it at bay where it can't hit me, but I can still stab at it. At least that's what I'm banking on. This actually seems to work, at first. It can't reach me, and I'm able to get in some stabs to get some bleeds rolling. But then, things go terribly south. It squeezes through the posts and gets in 4 quick hits, one after another, absolutely nuking my health from 113 all the way down to 43 HP. So here I am, people, severely wounded, out of stamina, and trapped in my own vulture trap. My only saving grace right now is that it gets stuck just above me out of reach, and I'm able to pop some painkillers to stay alive. I decide to try breaking the wooden block that's trapping me inside of here with this thing, but I'm like actually stuck. When things get quiet for a second, I turn around to find out what's happening, only to see that it's literally breathing down my fucking neck. This thing could reach me at any moment with how glitchy it can move through objects, so I decide to take the ballsy approach. I drink some beer for stamina regen and say fuck it. My first attack ragdolls it, which is probably the worst thing that could have happened since it drops it right into the block with me. My camera gets completely fucked in this whole scenario, and the vulture gets in one more hit, taking me back down to 49 HP. Somehow, in some way, I come out of this fight the victor, and I honestly don't know how. I thought for sure the run was over here because of a single radiated vulture and a streak of bad luck with glitchy blocks. I mean, I'm jammed the fuck in this thing, like, I can't move. Thankfully, breaking the block seems to dislodge me from my own trap, and I take out my vengeance on this stupid fucking bird that nearly ended the entire run. But I'm chill now, okay? I've got tea. Tea helps the dark thoughts, and the terrible side effect of dehydration from popping so many painkillers. Anyways, with all that bullshit out of the way, I can get back to business. This room has loads of loot boxes, but the only beneficial things I find in here are 2 mid-tier food items, that being this marmalade on toast and a fish pie. There is a bunch of ammunition in this one box, which would be great in some other kind of challenge, but in this one, it's pretty worthless. The only thing I haven't yet explored is the actual cell tower itself, and since all the enemies should theoretically be dead since the mission is complete, I feel pretty safe building up here. And it's a good thing that I was building up here, because the game wants to throw another curveball at me. As I'm placing blocks down, I spot this massive horde of feral zombies just barreling straight towards me. One of them just straight up hops the fence, which I didn't even think was possible. If I slip off of here right now, or if I make one wrong move, there's no doubt about it. I'm dead. I decide to build up just a little bit higher for the off chance that they find a way to reach me. I wait until nearly all of them are inside the courtyard, and then I make a bold move to get the hell out of here. I use the fence as a catwalk of sorts, and decide to pop some beer for the extra stamina regen. I'm not exactly sure if I'm still being followed at this point, but I purposely pull off some sweet parkour moves to lose them just in case. When my stamina finally gets low, I building block my way on top of this rooftop and finally turn around to see if I've lost them. It seems to be the case, but I still take an obscure route back to the trader just to be safe. That whole mission was way too fucking close. Everything from the feral zombie at the start, to the zombie dog, to the vultures, and then an entire horde of feral zombies has me pretty shaken up. I walk into Trader Rex with blood dripping down my arms, shit in my pants, and one droopy eye from all that opioid pain medication, and while in the past this wouldn't have fazed him, I think he actually sympathized with me for just a brief moment. He offers me a wrench as a reward option, the one item I need to gather all those components to make a workbench and acquire a helmet light mod. This just feels like fate. Everything is falling into place, and it just makes sense. Or at least I thought it did at the time. I snag one more mission, sell all of my shit, and start really looking into what it's going to take to make this helmet light idea of mine a reality. I invest a point into science crafting to unlock the mod, and rediscover that I'm going to need those generic schematics in order to craft it. Trader Rex is fucking useless and doesn't have any, and I don't have any stashed away in my storage boxes, so I'm just out of luck on this resource right now. The workbench itself is fairly easy to make though, so I figured that I would just take it one step at a time. If I can make it all work, then great. If not, it's no big deal, and I simply tackle the 7th day without it. Trader Rex does have some of the other resources I'm going to need, though, so I figured that I might as well buy them now while I'm here and save me some time looking for them later. I also purchased some more medical supplies from the White River Scout, and by the time I finish all this stuff, the new day has officially arrived. Alright, day 7 is here, and I'm not wasting a single second, baby. I'm fucking doing it. I'm tearing apart vehicles, I'm fucking snorting cocaine, I'm drinking red tea, I'm shitting in my pants, I'm drooling everywhere. A lot of this actually just might be those opioids, I'm not entirely sure. But I am fairly confident I can harvest most of the resources I'm going to need for the workbench and the helmet light mob with this new wrench, but those generic schematics are the main bottleneck. I have no clear plan on how to acquire them, and truth be told, I don't even think I can in time. Because of my uncertainty, I backburned the idea of gathering these resources in favor of preparing the pharmacy for the final fight. I intend on coming back to this grind if I have time, but the pharmacy is far more important. I'm going to need quite a bit of wood for building blocks and materials to upgrade, but shortly into cutting this tree down, I decide to check with Trader Rec to see if he can save me some time. Now normally I would never pay this amount of dukes for the wood, but this is the 7th day and I literally have no other use for currency at this point, so I might as well just spend it. I leave the trader and head over to the pharmacy. Most of this building seems pretty secure, but there are a few things I spotted that I want to change. This ambulance here is one of my main concerns because zombies could potentially jump on top of it and then on top of the pharmacy to get at me. These trash cans pose the same kind of threat, so it's probably best just to take them out. So I'm feeling pretty confident that most of this pharmacy is secure at this point, so I opt to spend some time running around town looking for things to deconstruct for parts. Shopping carts are actually pretty dope for this, so I decide to seek them out over most other things. This abandoned semi-truck is also a great find and ends up providing me with the rest of the mechanical parts that I need, but I'm still short on forged iron and, of course, those pesky generic schematics. While running through the town looking for things to tear apart, I spot this airdrop off in the distance, which is really tempting at first, but ultimately I decide against it since I've already wasted enough time. Speaking of which, I'm actually not even sure how much time is left for today, so I get back on track with preparing the pharmacy rooftop for the incoming horde. I want to construct a little bunker of safety up here in the event that the horde has zombie vultures. I learned my lesson back at that cell tower and really don't want another experience like that on my hands. This rooftop ventilation system is actually really strong, so I decide to use it as the back of my bunker. I really don't have a specific design in mind right now, but I do have a general idea of what I'm looking for. I want to make a square structure that I can stab out of from all 3 sides in the front, and a roof that I can stab through the bottom of, but still keep the vultures out of. These platform post structure things should work pretty good for the sides, but the ceiling is a bit of a different beast. I cycle through quite a few different blocks before deciding on these funky looking quarter cube things. Combined with some other quarter cube blocks, this leaves me with 4 holes in the ceiling that I can poke at the vultures with, but are hopefully small enough that I can't get inside. Overall, I'm actually pretty satisfied with the way this is looking, and decide to finalize the design by converting it all over to cobblestone.
Oh, yeah?
Just so you know, I'm leaving this doorway open for now so I can get in and out, but we'll need to place blocks here in the future when the time comes. Despite my confidence in this pharmacy rooftop, I've learned to always have a backup plan in case things go south, which they frequently do. This police department over here is said backup plan. If shit hits the fan, I plan on running over there and building my way up to that bell tower until the horde passes. Even though I tried to make it work, constructing a workbench and a helmet light mod at this point in the game is just a pipe dream. I was offered the wrench way too late in this challenge, and I'm simply out of time to make it work. As much as it hurts to do this, I reason that I should probably just drop everything that I can to lighten my load. Lastly, I place my torch over top of the entrance to my little bunker and chow down on some of those mid-tier food items that I've been saving. Now, if you at all know 7 Days to Die, then you would know that a blood-red sky and scream tearing are telltale signs that it's the 7th day and shit's about to get real. I chug some drugs into my face, I mean vitamins in my face, I don't have a problem, and mentally prepare myself for what I'm about to go up against. I mean, this is it. This is the culmination of 6 previous attempts, numerous hours of strategic planning, and 24/7 cheek-clenching on-edge gameplay. I decide to delete my remaining quests to clear up my UI and avoid any possible distractions, only to hear the ominous horde music beginning to crescendo in the background. As soon as the horde begins closing in on me, I hear the distinct scream of a zombie vulture. Without hesitating for a second, I run into my little bunker of safety and close off the entrance. Only a few seconds later, my bunker defenses are put to the test. Luckily, everything seems to work out great. The vulture can't reach me, even when ragdolled from one of my attacks, and I simply pick it off without taking a single hit. When the coast seems clear, I break my way back out of the bunker and scan the skyline for any more vultures. It would seem that everything is clear for the moment, but I do hear some commotion coming from the back of the building that has me concerned. A couple zombies have climbed their way on top of the hedgerow, and if left unchecked, will eventually make it up onto the wall and then onto my rooftop. I managed to block off their access point just in time to block one of them from jumping up here, and managed to dodge a streak of vomit that was heading straight for me. I'm not so lucky the second time though, and even though I popped those vitamins before the horde started, I still managed to get infected from this single attack. I slapped down a few more blocks to further restrict their access point, but I don't have any ranged weapons, so I can't really do anything else to stop them. Little did I know though that this doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? Well, of course, dear viewer, the game was about to throw yet another curveball at me. I happened to hear this very faint sound coming from my left side and quickly spin around to investigate, only to see a feral zombie barreling straight towards me. Immediately, I know what this means, and it was confirmed with 2 more zombies coming right at me. The rooftop has been compromised. The police station is my only hope now, and I need to get over there as fast as possible. I hop off of the pharmacy roof and chug my last beer for the stamina regen. My only saving grace right now is that the entire horde is stuck inside of the pharmacy trying to get at me, which buys me the time that I need to run down the street. I placed out a few building blocks to get me out of harm's way, but if a zombie runs up and breaks the bottom block, I'm toast, so I decide to branch over and connect my remaining blocks to the side of the building. It's dark as hell out, and I have to keep switching to my flashlight just to safely navigate here, adding more salt to the wound of never acquiring that helmet light. I managed to make it on top of the bell tower and quickly spot the weak point that could lead to my demise. This ladder has to go, but I know that I'll never break it in time, so I simply opt to place a block over top of it and upgrade it to cobblestone. I also decide to tear apart the 2 blocks that form the floor of the bell tower, just in case they manage to break the block over the ladder. Now, I'm not sure what they're doing down there, but they are loud as hell in my headphones. Here, have a listen. I'm reasonably confident that I can hold out the rest of the night here now, provided there's no other access points, but vultures are also a huge concern. Fortunately for me, this doesn't happen, and the game seems to be done with its never-ending curveballs. After a long, heart-pounding night of standing precariously on the edge of a police station bell tower, the new day arrives. Sunlight washes over the apocalyptic town, like an ocean wave cleansing a long-forgotten beachfront. It purifies the landscape of its imperfections and breathes life back into this godforsaken town. The American flag over here! It's flagging flaggingly against the wind. Alright, so I'm not much of a writer, but you get the idea. This challenge was exhausting, but I fucking did it, baby! Whoa! That's right, who survived 7 days with only a bone knife? This guy, right here. I did it. Not your neighbor, not your aunt, not your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate, me! Bunneh! But I still do have one question that's unanswered. How did those zombies possibly manage to make it onto the rooftop of that pharmacy? Well, as it turns out, there is another access point onto the rooftop, but it was completely hidden inside of this ductwork. Had I actually cleared the building before using it for the final fight, I would have known this. So live and learn, people. Live and learn. Oh yeah, also, I realize that I'm still infected from unexpectedly swallowing that projectile zombie vomit, but I've got some antibiotics right here, people. Save the comments, I've got this shit covered! Anyways, that is challenge complete, and I can finally rest easy knowing that I've officially earned 1 notch in my belt. This challenge was extremely difficult, to say the least, and despite my first 6 failed attempts, I persevered through seemingly impossible odds in a game that very clearly wanted me to quit. I had an absolute blast attempting this challenge, and really hope that you all found some entertainment in the chaotic journey. If you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to leave me a like down below, subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you can stay up to date on all of my latest content, join the Discord to meet all the other like-minded woodland creatures, and please keep leaving me comments because they warm my little Bunneh heart. A very special thank you goes out to all of the Bunnehs that support me on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and if you would like to support the channel and the content that I create, you can now do so for as little as $1 a month. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.